Hey everyone, welcome back to my setting, my fellow fans of the written word and the wheel of time. Here is me back again with a less crazy schedule. And to be fair, one of the reasons I slow down with the videos a bit because got a new guitar, so busy hands. Let's do yes, we will. Let's do a recap first of chapters 15 to 25, which were the chapters I read. So we start our tale with Nynaeve and Elaine. They wake up in one of the inns in Amadisia, and they have decided to leave the town and go to Tyr. But all of a sudden, Gelad appears. He is now, surprise, surprise, child of light. Brainwashed or not, who knows? I don't think he is. He's Gelad. He's not very bright. And he demands / offers to take Elaine to Camelin, where she should be safe, and that's your place. Elaine, of course, is hesitant. She wants to think about it, and she grabs Nynaeve and urges her to escape as soon as possible because she knows Gelad, and he's now a white cloak. And Gelad is someone who always does the right thing, even if it hurts him in the long term. He's just incredibly narrow-minded, one-tracked. He has a one-track mind and will. Maybe not mind, but will certainly. So she urges Nynaeve to escape because he will insist on escorting her back. And or he might even tell other children of the light who they are, that they are channelers, they're Aes Sedai. And it doesn't matter that they're not full Aes Sedai. They would be imprisoned or worse, executed even, which is no good, right? So they sneak out and they go west. But before that, Tom and Julian converse with them. Tom tells Elaine that Gelad is watching the inn. Of course he is. So after some negotiations and talking about it, they decide to employ services of the man called Valan Luka. I don't remember if I mentioned him earlier. He is a circus owner, theater owner. Nynaeve insulted in the past when Nynaeve was pretending to be Elaine's servant. She gave him a coin. It would have been better if she didn't give him anything. In a way, she mocked him, which cool Nynaeve. So they go west. They sneak out. They seek out Luca, and Tom and Julian catch up with them. And they reach his show. They also, on the way, they learn that Pedro Nile is trying to unite other nations against Rand. So, which I kind of expected, to be honest. So they reach Luca and his traveling circus, and he doesn't want to help them, but they bribe him, and well, that's not enough. He also wants them to perform. So it's not a problem with Tom. He can juggle and sing and other stuff, and Julian can, with some, I guess, liquid courage, do some acrobatics, but the girls will have to work for it as well. Then we shift Leandrin. And Leandrin, she returns to a house in Amador, and there she finds unexpected company, one of the Black Sisters. Not just any Black Sister, one of the Forsaken, Moghedien. So she does a foolish thing. She tries to use her gift, her preternatural, what her talent essentially. She tries to use it against Moghedien, who punishes her severely. But Leandrin is such an ambitious and power-hungry person that instead of kind of learning her lesson, her whole shtick is, okay, yeah, she's still stronger than me, I will bid my time, but wow, she can do that. I wonder how much power can I learn from her one day, or wield like her. So what Moghedien does, she assigns 6 of the sisters, of the Black Sisters, with different tasks. And she doesn't tell any of them, aside from their own tasks, which other tasks are. So we have Leandrin, Chesma, Lesni, Tamail, and Eldrith. So they're all set to find Nynaeve and take her to Moghedien. Then we're back at Elaine, where we meet Alundra, the Illuminator, and Serendin, a Shun'an handler. And we find out that she's been left at Falme, and she kind of swears allegiance to Elaine. But back to Morghese. And this is honestly one of the subplots that I've been increasingly interested in. I find it very interesting. I really sympathize with her because being unsure of your own memories, of your own mind, and she's a strong character in power, not without reason. She's a very capable woman, and just being trapped by this man and not having free will, that's terrifying. That sounds so terrifying. Having feelings for someone and not knowing if those feelings are real, if they've been imprinted on you, it's just So she's in her sitting room, and in the picture there it comes a man named Martin Tellenvor. He tries to tell her about the severity of the situation in Two Rivers. So there's a rebellion in Two Rivers, someone has raised the Manetheren banners, and apparently Lord Gabriel has been informed, and he doesn't care. But Morghese is pissed, rightly so. She goes to confront him, but faces too much resistance. But he again uses compulsion against her, scrambles her mind again, poor woman, and sends her away. So when she comes to, she realizes where she is. She is in pensioners' quarters and goes to an older woman, surprise, surprise, named Lini. She's an old nursemaid, and the old nursemaid gives her a verbal beating, which I really love when characters do verbal lashings in Jordan's writing, whether it's Nynaeve or someone else. I live for it. I think he has a real talent for that. So the nursemaid calls her, and Morghese she doesn't know the supernatural aspect of it, but she is aware that she is being manipulated. So she decides to re-establish her rule from somewhere outside of Kingman. So she sends Lini to fetch Tellenvor and asks him about loyalty among the people. She wants to know who is still with her. So they have all swore conveniently allegiance to the throne, but not to the queen, but Telenvor is a man who is loyal to his queen. He gives a no. So Morghese and Lini, they sneak out of the palace. They meet Telenvor at a stable yard called Queen's Blessing, and they meet two men there. And a man named Basil Gill and a man called Dorn. And they all have decided to follow her, and they want to go to Core Springs. They also get Gareth Bryn on with them, which was weird. So that's where Morghese is. Now, Thane. Back to Thane. A very short sequence with Thane, but very effective sequence. Very well done. So Thane sneaks about, slithers in the darkness, the snake he is, in the White Tower. He unlocks a door that was warded because he wants to steal the Shedar Logoth dagger, the dagger that poisoned Matt. And he feels this urge to have it because he needs this dagger to feel complete, I suppose. I still don't get it quite fully, but that's the gist of it. But he is noticed by and accepted. He manages to kill her, but he is then caught by Elvieren, and she binds him with air weaves, and she lets him go after she learns that he is a dark friend. And not even that, she's not sure of his level of authority. He speaks of the Shedar Logoth and the Forsaken as if he's one of the equals, and well, she is a dark friend. She is Black Aja, but she's certainly not on the level of that. So she lets him go, but she keeps an eye on him. And he goes back to follow his followers. Now what? Well, we have Rand. Rand is slowly but surely leaving the Pale Wastes, and they approach the town called Tayan, and they see a nasty scene. Dead bodies, people hanging from the walls, just a few survivors left. They walk up to Rand, they explain to him that, well, it's the Aiel Wars all over again, but they know that it's the Shido. They also bear a message from Couladin, who is, well, you would think that this was enough, the bodies, but the message is, you're next, essentially. So, he forms a camp. Aiel are clearing out the mess that Shido left. They are erecting tents, and they do about, right? Avienda and Egwene, they approach Rand. They try to tell him that he's not his fault, he could not have stopped it. And he is somewhat absent-minded. He agrees, but his mind is elsewhere. He didn't even know there was a town there. Ruark mentioned to him that there was a town a few days ago. So his mind is on Asmodean, so he goes to Asmodean, tells him that there will be no lessons today. Their code word for lessons is discussion. He tells him that he will see him in the morning, but Asmodean is being cheeky again and asks if Rand suddenly trusts him. And Rand gives him this fierce speech about not trusting him even a little bit, trusting him as much as he needs to, and the nanosecond he tries to betray him, he will bury him again. This is him speaking, not Lewis Terran. So Rand sets up his wards against the Shadow Spawn, because, well, Aiel are more than enough for the human enemies, right? So him and Vienna have this little fight because she killed a very poisonous blood snake with her belt knife, and he scolds her that she shouldn't do that, shouldn't put herself in danger. But Avienda tells him something very truthful. Actually, she says that she killed him with her belt knife, but using the power to kill is far more dangerous, which is true. Also, Avienda offers him a sword, a very expensive, fancy sword, because she wants to return the debt, because, well, I don't know why. Rand gave her a gift just to appease her, to calm her down, because she was being super mean to him. And he wants to refuse the gift, but he notices a mark on the blade, which is very similar to the sword he lost, the sword that broke with the heron mark. So he just takes the sword and returns the hilt. And the hilt is super expensive with rubies and stuff. Then we have a lot of talks about Aiel customs and Aiel marriage, and what it means if a maiden teaches a man to sing, and all this and that. He is fast asleep. Now we are back at Matt. So Melindra, the shield maiden that hooked up with Matt, she is massaging his back, delivers a strange speech about him being destined for great glory, and why is he in the shadow of a man who is his equal, and la-di-da. Man doesn't give a rat's ass. He repeats the question whether she is the daughter of 9 moons, from what the creatures in that place that gave him the spear told him. So an attack happens. Trollocs are in the camp. He grabs his clothes, rushes out. Apparently, a bunch of Trollocs shouting out Samuel's name is a war cry. Matt is kind of an autopilot, and I love every time he goes into battle. It's like, this is not my fight. I'm not a hero, and he goes there and just does better stuff. So he kills a Murdrol, and crying out Manethran cries. So back to Rand. He wakes up, he spots Avienda and a Drakkar. He destroys a Drakkar, but he doesn't realize that there was another Drakkar that Avienda already killed, but he kind of made himself a fool in front of the Avienda. He returns to his tent. The maidens are ashamed of their behavior. They want to apologize, which is weird. They're kind of blame themselves for not reacting on time, which is ridiculous. And so the Aiel move on, and they reach Karen. The rest of the Aiel. Couladin has really left a mark on this land. So Rand is having a meeting with clan chiefs and wise ones, and he makes it very clear that he wants to save Karen, not destroy it. So I know, and you guys and gals lifelong fans of Wheel of Time, that there is this customary fifth where when Aiel are raiding, they have a right to a fifth. But Rand gives an order that if someone takes more than that, they will be hanged. And Egwene is actually on Rand's side about this. So she and Avienda have a chat, and Avienda is of course super pissed about Rand. Again, she asks Egwene to talk to Wise Ones about relieving her of this task. She doesn't want to live with Rand anymore. But, surprise, surprise, no. Avienda must and will obey the Wise Ones. She's not going anywhere. But one of the Wise Ones asks Rand if he will hang the chief if they break a rule he's set. Well, she asks Egwene about Rand, and Egwene is not sure, but me personally, yeah, I'm pretty sure. When Rand gets serious, he gets serious. So that's about it. Egwene has a bunch of dreams. One of them is about Brigitte Silverbow, and Wise Ones are very displeased when they find Elaine, of all people, in the dreams, because, well, they keep an eye on Egwene, but Elaine is other pupil. She does not respond to them, but Egwene asks Elaine why is she there instead of Elaine, and well, Nynaeve got into a fight. But they discuss Nynaeve's temper some more and stuff, la di da. So they exchange news. And they're still unsure about the situation because Nynaeve doesn't know where the blue Aja are gathering, and there's news about Shan-Chan and Serendin, and Wise Ones, of course, are ignorant about Shan-Chan. What is to say about that, right? So Egwene stays there in the dream world, and she kind of creates an image of her novice room in the White Tower. She wants to find out some more information, and she and Elaine talk some more, and Elaine actually says something very interesting. She says that Egwene has changed a lot, and she believes that she will become the Emberlin one day, which is wild. So yeah, what happens next is Egwene isn't ready to go yet. She stays. So she lets herself conjure more images. She runs into Galad, imagines them married, and she runs out from the dream world, but this whole time Mogadin was observing her and trying to understand just how strong this girl is in the dream world. And she notices that, proclaims that, well, there is already one woman who claims the dreams as her domain. Now she has another competitor. And that's about it. A lot of things to cover, so sorry if it wasn't as short. But let's move on to questions.
5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
Questions. Now, Melindra. Question about Melindra. So, she's from, or rather of Shaido, of Kuladin's clan. And we know that a bunch of Spear Sisters from Culloden clan have kind of renounced their clan membership to join Karkarn, to join Rand. We know that much. But her comments about to Matt about wanting him to be more ambitious and stuff, was it just her personality, or is she a spy? Is she a dark friend? She's kind of on my suspicion list as of now. Another thing, Elaine's statement about Egwene. Is this foreshadowing, or will Egwene actually become an Emerald Sith? Because I don't see it happening anytime soon. Maybe in like penultimate book or the last book. With the situation as it is in the tower, it seems unlikely. But things do change, and that would be interesting. What kind of an Emerald Sith a Wilder would be. And my last question is with the Wise Ones attitude about Shanchan, I'm just curious about, will the Aiel ever meet Shanchan in battle, as allies? It doesn't matter. I would just like to observe clash of cultures, because I think that Jordan does different cultures very well, and differences in cultures through interaction. So it would be interesting to see how they interact. Move on to things I liked. Whoa. So, well, a minor character really. This guy, Martin Tellenwar, who swore obedience and loyalty to Queen Morghese. I think he could be an interesting addition to the secondary cast, as long as he isn't one note. As long as there is more to him than I am obsessed with my queen, I am loyal to my queen, my queen, my queen. I do think there's more to him. I do think that he will have a larger role to play, but that remains to be seen. I'm just glad that Morghese has someone that's loyal to her. And one of the things that I liked, which feels really weird to say, but I like that I felt bad for Queen Morghese, which I mentioned already, but it's well done. Morghese is a character we haven't learned about on an intimate level. What's in her head, the feeling of the entrapment she feels, the claustrophobia. That's just really well done. Emotional claustrophobia, if you will. Another thing that I liked, and that's a small but very amusing thing, when Rand was having a dream about getting beaten with a bouquet of desert flowers, just his confusion about his love life is so telling. It's super funny. Another thing, Lan. He's not very present. Well, he is present, but he's not doing much. But when he silently approved Matt's tactical observation when they encountered that the town that was ravaged by Culloden's tribe, his remark about lack of scouts and stuff, that man may be silent. I am talking about Lan, but his silence really speaks volumes. His looks, even though they're stony looks, they tell tales, I tell you. Also, I would like to quote something, and I think it really encapsulates Rand's entire character. How long had he been doing what was necessary instead of what was right? In a fair world, they would be one and the same. It's just, end of quote, the overbearing sense of duty, but it's not duty he chose to protect his homeland or felt proper. It's a burden. It's a burden that was put on him. It's different than duty that Lan feels. It's different than his crusade. His burden is a burden. You can really feel it. One thing that I would like also to say, I like Egwene here, and what I mean is she's slowly starting to accept Rand as equal. She's no longer trying to reconcile this image of a boy who is naive versus a man. And I'm not even talking about his status as Dragon Reborn, just as someone who has to make decisions, who is a competent leader. I don't think she looks down on him anymore, which may be foolish to say. How can she look down on someone who is this powerful and literally the Messiah? But they grew up together, and it's hard to separate Rand, Dragon Reborn, and Rand, a boy who was, promised to her and stuff like that, her childhood friend. That was good. Now let's cover things that I didn't like. The B plot. What I mean is, it didn't really feel like B plot. Jordan seems to prefer to write plots, point of views in pairs. So usually we have intrigue in White Tower and Rand, or Caemlyn versus White Tower, or Waestis and Aiel versus Nynaeve and Boats. This time I feel that the B plot with Elaine at this point has really slowed down. Not a major issue, and again it will be different. My opinion will probably be different once I complete the whole book, but I do feel that it slowed down a bit. Not that it dragged, but it certainly slowed down. And another thing that I didn't like, I am still not into Elaine's daddy issues. I don't know how to call it otherwise. Her insistence on being smitten by Tom, who only sees her as a child and a daughter surrogate. Just, nope. And last but not least, predictions.
Well, it's only a guess, but it's all I have to go on.
So, with Matt's memories becoming more pronounced and concrete, I think he will be instrumental in defeating the Shido. And Couladin, of course. He will either come up with a plan, or he will lead a smaller group of people in, I guess, a decisive strike against Couladin. Either one of two. Also, as an aside, I appreciated a parallel here with Rand's situation. And maybe that's just me, but I felt that there was a contrast here. Rand doesn't know who he is at times because Lewis Tarrant bleeds into him, into his mind, speaking through him, resurfacing. And Matt is becoming increasingly aware of where his memories start and where the other memories end. He sees them in a much more tangential way. That's cool. Prediction number 2. I think that something will happen to Avienda. She'll get wounded, something will happen to her, and Rand will just fly off the handle. Because we've seen his indifference towards her with the snake and stuff, so it is quite obvious that he really cares about her, so it's just a matter of time when he shows it explicitly. So that was all. Thank you for watching. Once again, sorry down with content, but life, new work, new job, guitar. But I will be upping my game, I promise. Actually, if you've been following my other channel, I've been posting it. I have a Patreon. Yeah, I'm not doing a shill bit, but a long time ago I made a Patreon, and I made a Patreon for my website because I post there sometimes. And I've been pleasantly surprised by a patron. So this is a shout out to Ethan. Thank you, Ethan. Ethan Pecky. You really did make my day, and I enjoyed chatting with you, and I did not expect that. It was a pleasant surprise. And regarding my Patreon, and again, this is another shill, I sometimes post songs that I make that are inspired by books that I like or read at the time. And I got an idea for a Wheel of Time song. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be posting a link there for sure when I do it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. And yes, we will go out and find a stick.